dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by, and it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Good afternoon, San Bernardino. This is Shazette with Working in the Margins, Family Assistance Program's weekly radio program. I come on and I create safe space and great dialogues with some of our community leaders in San Bernardino County about how to better serve our unhoused and marginalized citizens. I also give weekly updates and community services about community services and resources. And we're at this. We're in the holiday time. It's Christmas, Thanksgiving's behind us, and Christmas is on the way. And we are supposed to be, getting merry and jolly and happen, and that doesn't always happen for some folks. It's for varying reasons, but I'm going to do a trigger disclaimer first. This show is going to be kind of my personal therapy session with a wonderful psychiatrist from Kaiser, Dr. Lamont. And we're going to talk about seasonal affect disorder that affects a lot of people, myself included, and my son. And I know it's just not us. And I know I'm not the only person that has lost people. I think we all have, or we know somebody. So I will share with you. Also, trigger warning: if any of this information is triggering to you or difficult for you, find somebody to sit with you. Listen, because we're gonna have a great conversation. But find somebody to sit with, or make sure that someone is around you. Maybe listen to this show and watch this show together. With someone, because we're going to talk about some difficult things, but we're talking about them. I'm bringing these things to you so that I can also bring you solutions, some tricks of the trade, how to get past some of these difficulties. But I don't want to ignore it because there's so many people that suffer from it. My family is going through this right now. Last week, right prior to Thanksgiving, my father passed away. And then we lost another significant relative like the day after. So I have, everybody in my family, is mourning and grieving and still trying to, deal with the holidays and get ready for the holidays and everything. So, but we're going to talk, I'm going to, and that's a lot of people. So I know that it's not just my family. I know many other families recently that I've offered condolences to, and it's going to also be their first time without that loved one, that father, that mother, that auntie. So I just really wanted to come on and this show has been planned for a while with Dr. Lamont Evita, because we were going to just talk about seasonal affect disorder. But now we're going to talk a little bit about both and what holidays and grief look like. And, we are, there's a great article that I found at Baylor University they published last December about the holidays and how it's typically a joy and celebration for most people, but how difficult it can be for mourning people in mourning or grieving people, um, and how death of a loved one can be especially hard during the holidays, because of the memories, the traditions. A mom, like, when I lost my mom a few years ago, my mom, she fixed a particular dish that we all look forward to. And now we have been trying to spend this time trying to trying to replicate it, because it was dear to us. I think my son has nailed it. It was her banana pudding. So, but things like that. And then, my dad had been ill, so I have been talking to him a lot more over the last, I want to say, year. I talk to him more regularly and everything. And so to go like this whole last week without being able to talk to him, and I have to stop myself from calling his number. And I know I'm not the only person that goes through this. So we're going to talk about it today. Um, so let me do a little intro, because I was blessed to get this wonderful Dr. Evita Limon Rocha from, she's a psychiatrist at Kaiser Permanente in Riverside. She is a dual board certified psychiatrist. She treats children, teens, and adult mental health. She lives in the Inland Empire. It's where she grew up. She went to college, and she practices here now. Um, she attended UCLA, where she completed her medical degree. She completed her residency in psychiatry at UC Irvine. She did a fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry at the University of Texas. And she believes, Dr. Lemon believes in whole person healing. She works in collaboration with her patients, including other therapists, some support staff, and teachers to provide high quality care for families. So I want to welcome Dr. Evita Lemon Rocha. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. I can see you. Welcome. So and thank you for giving up this time. And I hope you can spend a little time with me and we can talk about some of these, um, solutions. It's not, I don't want to be doom and gloom, and, but it's a natural of thing that happens. But I want folks to learn some tricks and trades to try to help self heal, self care, because that's important, right? So tell me a little bit, Doctor. We're just gonna talk. I know I have questions, and I sent questions to you, um, but we're gonna have a conversation because I really wanted to be authentic about, not just, there's a lot of things that are going on right now nationally. Our politics are kind of, disjointed. People are kind of burnt out on that. It was an election year. So, tell me, what what are you noticing right now, like in the community, that we need to really focus on as far as, um, depression, grieving, burnout right now? Where should we be focusing this energy right now?
So, this time of year is hard. It's a lot going on with just the holiday planning, outfits, food, gifts. It's a very, very hectic time of year. Add the layer on of we've got less daylight, it's
Hmm.
colder. So all of that, plus a lot of the stuff that you mentioned as well, things that are happening globally, things that are happening nationally. So there's a lot of layers to kind of the holidays and reasons for individuals to feel more stressed and tired.
Right.
Uh, so I think that I think sometimes the first thing I tell my families and I tell my patients is to give themselves a little bit of grace because there
Hmm.
is a lot
Yeah.
going on and a lot of expectations in terms of
Hmm.
trying to show the individuals that we care around us that we care about them and so it's just very very stressful and so I think
Right.
that's the first thing that I always tell my families to give
Right.
themselves some kindness and some grace to say
Right.
hey there's a lot going on and it makes sense that I'm feeling stressed.
Exactly. Tell me something. I read something. I didn't hear it. Well, no, I heard it in the podcast that, um, this time of the year is more difficult for women, I guess percentage wise, than men. How true is that?
I think it's hard to say. I think I've interacted with individuals of kind of all different genders, and they've I think universally I feel like everyone's feeling, or most individuals that I come across are feeling stressed to a degree.
Right.
So I think that it's kind of it's very challenging kind of around this time with, and then add the layer that you were mentioning before in terms of grief and loss, and that's something that we notice a lot of times, that
Right.
in important events, weddings, graduations, a lot of times individuals feel this incredible sadness because there are important people that aren't there with us, and
Right.
those big events remind us of that.
Right. Right. I know it's interesting. Some of the oddest thoughts come to me, and my son is 31, and he's not married yet or anything. He doesn't have kids, and I was sad because I'm like, my dad's not gonna see me become a grandma. He's not gonna see me functioning as a grandma. But it's silly because I take in children. I take in hockey players from around the world. They come and they spend time with me, and they're youngsters. So and I'm the grandma to them. I'm the grandma to a lot of people, but they're not biologically my kids. So I said he's gotten to see me function in that, but it was such an important role for him, and I was like, I can't wait till I'm a grandparent because I hope to be as good as my dad was as a grandparent. Doctor, tell me. When these occurrences happen so close to the holidays, what are the first things that we should be doing to protect ourselves from, um, from there's this new trend. It's called we listen but we don't judge. It's like different editions. So I was reading a mental health edition. We listen but we don't judge because they share very deep personal um, what things about themselves. If they, it's anonymous pretty much, and they but I was reading them, and there were so many that were um, had suicide ideology. They're saying, oh, if it weren't for my kids, I don't find any. What can we do to protect ourselves? What can we do to prepare, prepare ourselves for this, this kind of grief or mourning or sadness, during this time?
So a couple pieces. So the first thing I would say, and I it's very important. So I'm Latina. I'm a bilingual physician, and so what I tell my families is of kind of all kind of backgrounds is that it's important to normalize emotion and having an emotional response. So it's important that kind of in the process of grief, we can feel all sorts of emotions, anger, kind of denial that this didn't happen, bargaining, say, hey, well, maybe if I would have done this differently, this would. So it's a whole kind of set of emotions that can happen in all different orders.
Right.
Sometimes a little bit elements of emotions all at once. So I always say that kind of as a parent, as a community member, that it's really important to normalize that when sad things happen, it is normal to have an emotional response,
Right.
and we an emotional response. We want to make sure and normalize that it is important to feel and not minimize that space to feel.
Right.
The other thing in terms of kind of protecting ourselves, when there are times that we're going through transitions, and even happy transitions like starting
Mm-hmm.
college or
Mm-hmm.
starting a new job that we're really excited about, those transitions can be difficult. It's
Yeah.
something that's new. Our routine is changing. And
Yeah.
so that's important to remember that our routine is being changed. So let's focus on ways to maintain routine, give
Right.
ourselves a sense of normalcy, things that we're going to be expecting,
Right.
and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, like our sleep. If we're
Right.
noticing that our phone, technology, what's going on in the world, social media, the news is impacting our well being,
Mm-hmm.
impacting our sleep, let's protect our sleep. It's
Right.
time off social media, time off the internet.
Right.
Let's kind of put limits on that
Unplug.
and focus on our sleep.
Right.
Let's do a meditation instead.
Right.
Let's drink some té de manzanilla, which is chamomile tea.
Right.
Which is non-caffeinated, and
Mhm.
end our night with a meditation and some tea.
Yes. Yes.
Movement. So again, I'm Latina, so movement, music is something that is deeply ingrained in my identity and
We are
who
too.
I am. So incorporating movement, whether it be kind of going outside or having a tiny dance break, and incorporating music into that moment. So
Right.
those are different things that are really, really important. We spend a lot of time indoors. Any opportunity that we can create to spend time outside,
Outside.
and incorporating little things like just some deep breathing, and focusing on our breathing and being present with ourselves. I think
Right.
one of the things that we do a lot is we're kind of focused on the future or focused on the past, but very little of the time is actually just being present with our
Present
breathing,
right now.
present with
Right.
just what we're doing. And so I always invite my patients, even in the office, to say, hey, let's be present now. Let's be present in the conversation that we're having, and kind of put technology aside and really focused on what we're doing right now. And
Right.
so I always invite families to kind of try to see the best that they can, incorporate ways to take care of themselves, and also doing inventories of saying, hey, if I'm feeling really anxious, maybe I need to think about how much soda or caffeine or coffee that I'm
Right.
drinking.
Right.
And maybe it's time to decrease the amount of caffeine and decrease the amount of soda or things that
Right.
are making me
Stimulants.
feel like running away from the tiger. I need to kind of take things out. And
Yes.
so I think those are all really, really important things. And then
Wow.
for my adult patients, substances, a lot of times it's important to take an inventory of alcohol use, and alcohol can be a depressant and make us feel worse, increase sadness. And so really being mindful of kind of our consumption of alcohol, and maybe saying, you know what, right now I'm going to focus on chamomile tea, focus on making sure I'm sleeping well, seeing how I can incorporate movement in my day-to-day.
That's awesome.
And the most important thing that I always try to normalize for all of my families is that if we are struggling in a big way, then it's time to, just like we would for any other medical condition.
Right.
We got a
Reach
broken
out
arm,
for help.
not a thought in our mind goes to say, hey, let's go to the emergency room. I have a broken arm.
Right. You're not
Or
going to walk around with a broken arm to avoid going to the doctor. So why walk around with a broken heart, or, or a fractured mind because of grief or mourning? So I absolutely agree with that. I've been in therapy for some years now, off and on. Sometimes I needed more, sometimes I needed less, but I always feel like during the fall, during the season, I get reminiscent about things, and it's always good to tap in with a therapist. Dr. Limon, we're going to go to a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the seasonal affect disorder, and what that looks like for some people. Okay, thank you so far. You're a great conversation. San Bernardino, we'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
This important time-sensitive message is brought to you by this station's generous sponsor, George Litchfield Associates, who has important Medicare information for all current and future Medicare recipients about some big changes happening. Medicare Clarified. Medicare is a nonprofit consumer service organization.
It's more important than ever to review your Medicare plan for 2025 from October 15th through December 7th. To find out if you're in the right plan for you, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005. A popular and local Medicare plan is improving. Others are raising copays and adding deductibles. Biggest changes in the Medicare drug program in 15 years.
We thank George Litchfield and Litchfield Insurance for their generous support of this radio station.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino. This is Shazad with Working in the Margins, Family Assistance Weekly talk radio show. We are on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. We're in our new location at the Teamsters Local 1932 building here in heart of San Bernardino. And I'm going to give out some call lines. If anybody is feeling like they want to call in and and talk to me, or get connected with with Dr. Limon or some other resources, call in on 909-383-1000. That's the KCAA listener line, 909-383-1000. But we're going to bring Dr. Limon back, and we're going to talk about seasonal affect disorder. I didn't know how many people suffered from it or what it was called, really, until I realized that my young kid he had signs of it. And then I noticed that there were some things in my own behaviors that would change during the fall time. Even though it's like my favorite time of year, I just think lots of different factors led to it being one of the most stressful times of year also. So, Dr. Limon, I want to ask you about when you diagnose or somebody comes in, how do you know it's just seasonal affect disorder and not just like regular depression, ongoing depression, or what makes it different?
So the seasonal pattern would be the specifier to the depression component. So noticing that kind of as we have less sunlight, that kind of around this time, that's when we're noticing less energy, changes potentially in sleep or appetite, doing things that we normally do, that there's a worsening in symptoms kind of every single things, kind of around Thanksgiving time or around Christmas time. There also is a percentage of individuals as we go into spring and summer, not as common, but they can also notice as a season change, also a difference in a worsening of symptoms. So it's more so exactly like you were mentioning, a pattern and a seasonal pattern where we're noticing there's depressive symptoms, but they tend to be worse or worsening around that time.
And what are some of the main causes of besides? I know biologically they say it's sunlight, the light, not having that, it gets darker. I know for me, what I noticed is that I would just really want to sleep. As soon as it gets dark, I would just want to sleep. It gets dark, I want to sleep, and there's not a whole lot to do. You don't want to go out, and it's as I've gotten older, and I come from home. If I don't stop, I gotta get my stuff. I gotta go home. But once I'm home, that's it. I don't go anywhere. I don't like to hang out too much after it gets dark. That comes with age a little bit too. But what are some of the other signs and symptoms that you're seeing?
So light is definitely a big kind of thought to be a big factor in kind of the winter type of seasonal affective disorder. I think that, and that's where one of the potential treatments, whether it be kind of bright lights. So there's actually therapy lights that individuals can eat their breakfast in front of to help balance off with the fact that we're noticing and experiencing less sunshine, even in beautiful Southern California.
I know. Yeah, I know. Um, I I think I've seen like my son, I've seen him like change his schedule sometimes to be out earlier so that he's trying to get as much sunlight. He's very active. He's active, and he works, and he's doing that, and I know. But is there what do you or what tricks, what are a few tricks to kind of combat that? I know there's the lights and things like, what other kind of things could we be doing um to combat that, that sadness that during that time?
So I really loved that the therapy piece. So a lot of times I tell my kind of families and my patients, therapy is not a kind of we're going to kind of list everything that's terrible that's going on in our lives, but rather a way to strengthen our relationship with ourselves, strengthen our relationship with others, our children, our partner, um, our parents. And so that's the really beautiful part, an opportunity to grow. And so I always tell my families that it really because a lot of parents, I work with a lot of parents, and they worry about, oh, therapy is going to mean that I'm a bad parent. I'm like, no, it's going to strengthen that relationship with you as a parent, give you more tools of how to enhance that
Right.
relationship. So that being said, same thing in terms of the power of working with the therapist is enhancing skills, enhancing kind of learning kind of new tools to say, hey, this is recognizing, because I think that's a big part too, recognizing
Right.
pattern that, hey, this is a more difficult time of year. We've got holidays, we've got a lot going on, the kind of light impact, routine potential impact. And
Right.
so really that ability to recognize that this is kind of that pattern in the
Right.
first place.
Right.
And then the other things is sleep. It's a lot of times there's the tendency to decrease the amount of sleep, and sleep is really, really important for kind of all groups. And so making sure that we're taking care of our sleep, making sure that we are kind of thinking about things that are impacting our ability
Right.
to fall asleep, like online shopping or
Right.
whatever,
TikToking. Uh-huh.
watching the
Doom
videos
scrolling.
of silly things or whatever it may be,
Yes.
or sending the videos to every friend, the tios, the tias.
Uh-huh.
So kind of putting limits on that and saying, okay, I'm going to safeguard my sleep.
Yes.
Movement is medicine. I'm a firm believer that movement heals. It's there's so many different properties that are so helpful in terms of movement. Community is really important too, and making sure that we are keeping community alive. So whether it be, hey, I like to knit, let me kind of join a local
I like
kind of knitting
that.
group at the community center, or let me
Right.
join
Right.
the Zumba group at the community center. So kind of figuring out ways that we are building community, but also with our interests and individuals that could potentially help us and support us through those patterns where we're noticing that we struggle
Oh,
more.
that's good. I like that. I was going to ask you what some of the things that you would recommend. And I think that there's a lot more emphasis on mental health and mental health services and mental health care. So I think that I know I go to SBVC, I take classes there, and they have a wonderful program for student engagement for mental health. Just to give us, there's a lot of opportunities for us to tap in with professionals and colleagues and things where we are encouraged and empowered. And so I do take advantage of those. I recommend that other people take advantage of that. Again, I also do therapy. Now, therapy is not for everybody, and you don't have to run to a therapist, but the opportunity is there, and if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But keep trying to find something that I have worked through a lot of my anxieties through continuing to do things that I really like to do. So I'm a sports head. I'm a hockey head, and this is the season, and it's so. I love it, and I look forward to it, and it's something to look forward to. The games, and I watch it on TV. I'm also I'm a social service worker, so a lot of my fulfillment comes from helping people. So I always tell people November and December for me are my busiest times of the year, because I'm doing this to try to help other people. I do fundraisers, I do, gift collections, we do resource fairs and things like that. But that is me working through my depression. I don't want to. It's not my anxiety. I don't have time to really. I deal with it because I go to therapy, but I don't have time to get. I give myself like 72 hours to get. I'm in a bad way. I'm not thinking clearly. I'm not. I'm gonna give myself 72 hours, and I've done this for years. And I'm just gonna. If I just need to sleep and dig in and just get all into it, but 72 hours I really need to be thinking about what I'm going to do next to try to help somebody, or to get back out there. So that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody needs to kind of find their own way to cope, I guess. Yeah.
But I would say that what you're saying is very powerful. Hope, meaning, service gives individuals meaning. There's a deep sense of you feel good when you help other individuals, and definitely there's a science behind the importance of hope, and by doing projects and giving back, that can definitely foster hope and meaning.
Yes.
So I think there's a science behind what you're doing in terms of giving back to the community, and that purpose. So I definitely feel that's
awesome.
positive.
I believe that there's always somebody else that's worse off. I believe that. I see it every day. That's just because of the nature of the work I do, working with homeless people. I see it. I see their conditions, and a large part of me, I have faith. I have a higher power. I have faith, so I know that that feeds how I deal with things also. But it's really hard, and I recommend this to a lot of people. It's really hard to kind of feel sorry for yourself when you're out and you're helping people that are worse off. And not even worse off, maybe seniors, older people, when you're helping people who can't, are disabled, or they can't really help themselves, or they need more assistance. I find it very difficult to feel sorry for myself, or to have what my mom used to call pity parties for myself when I'm helping people. My anxiety is less about me and what I'm going through, and more about how am I going to get, a motel full of children a Christmas,
So, and it's feeling purpose and meaning, and I think that purpose and meaning is very powerful, and can definitely offer healing.
Yes, yes. Dr. Lamone, Avita, I love your name, Avita. We both are, we are women of color. We have a lot of cultural traditions and things that we practice. And like you said, music and movement, that, and we have the same, music and, we have the same in our culture, things that, ours is more like food. We like to cook, but I know that I got a lot of Latina friends, Latinx friends, so we all like to eat. So we all like to feel better eating. So, but some of our beliefs kind of feed our anxiety, too, because we all have different cultural beliefs and everything. What would you say about dealing with like family members? How do you, deal with family members that maybe, their beliefs are a little bit different than you about, death and dying and mourning and sadness and depression? We don't talk about that enough in our communities, in our cultures. You know what I mean?
I agree that there's a lot of kind of culturally barriers that prevent lots of individuals from seeking help. That's one of the beautiful things that I love about my work with families is that every single day I value kind of everyone's experiences, and I try to provide information that's objective so families can make the best decisions for themselves or for their children. And so definitely I come across families of different backgrounds kind of worrying about just even the basics, therapy and what that means, and the basics of what is a psychiatrist, and that kind of fear of what if does this mean that I'm a bad parent, or there's if I've kind of failed, and I tell them, no, you care deeply about your child. You're here in the room with me. You've made time from life, and life makes it very hard to come see a doctor or to kind of engage in healthy health practices. So you are here, you're present, you're asking questions. These are definitely difficult topics, and definitely culturally, a lot of individuals haven't been exposed to these discussions, and so their understanding is different. And so, but I invite those discussions, and invite my families to feel comfortable. And sometimes for my families, it may mean that we had a conversation, I empower them with information, and then later on they come back and they kind of start treatment. And so, but that's something that's really, really important to me. And even kind of when I do work in the community, kind of making sure that we create spaces that are safe to talk about our beliefs and our thoughts related to kind of lots of different topics, including depression. It's important because I feel like fighting stigma, creating safe spaces saves lives. So that even if we're having kind of scary thoughts, it's saying, you know what, I'm glad that you shared that with me. Let's get you some help. Let's connect you with someone that can help you. And I think with my parents, I try to normalize that kind of if there's that it's important to have difficult conversations with their loved ones, and create those spaces where we are connected with kind of our parents, our community, so that we can talk about things, because I really truly feel that by creating those spaces, we are saving lives.
You are. It's really important. Because I know a lot of us, we have, spiritual beliefs, and, that, if God can't fix it, nobody can. And I tell people, it's good to have a higher power. It's good to have belief in something, of faith. And I have a strong faith. But, sometimes you need to talk to somebody. You need to, just get it out there. And what better way to pay somebody to do it, $20, whatever it costs for your deductible, to have them just listen to you. That's what they're there for, to listen to you and to offer ways to help you, so.
And an objective person.
And an objective person.
A lot of times that it's hard to talk, and we have to have a place that it's judgment free, and it's someone that's there that's trained to help, because I definitely our Tias, comadres, our different individuals that we have in our life are very important, but we always want that skilled individual that has the tools, that has the training to be able to help us grow and foster that growth.
And I tell people there's nothing wrong with therapy. Colloquially, you're not crazy. You're not, it doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't make you unhinged, unstable. That's not, all those terrible colloquialisms that we, label people with when they start to seek therapy. It's read about it even, just do a little research about it even, So thank you so much. It has been a pleasure having you and talking to you. I do feel like I have my own little personal live therapy session. I'm going to use everything that we talked about and share it also. But I hope my listeners and my viewers will be able to at least reach out, listen to this and watch this. And then if you need help or if you need assistance, please reach out to somebody. you can call me or text me directly, and I will put you in touch with folks about, how to help. You have a wonderful holiday weekend coming up, or Christmas coming up. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and it's been a
and an
pleasure.
honor.
Wonderful having you. Thank you again for all your guidance and all your expertise.
Take care.
All
Gracias
right.
por todo. Thank you for
Oh,
everything.
thank you. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, San Bernardino. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna get some resources ready for you. So we'll be right back.
The caring staff at Mac Flavor Ingredients reminds everyone to please take the opportunity to give blood. By doing so, you may save the life of a friend, child, elderly person, surgery patient, or an accident victim. So give blood. It's safe, simple, and saves lives. This important reminder is a courtesy of Mac Flavor Ingredients in Riverside, where they care about the safety and welfare of our community. Be a silent hero, and if you can, give the gift of life. Give blood.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising. DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising. 909-222-9293.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino. This is Shazette with Working in the Margins. And we're at the end of our show. But I'm going to share some resources with you. There's some holiday giveaways coming up. Some are starting as soon as this weekend on the 7th. So if you I'm going to tell you them and give you the information, and then you could, during the podcast or the show, you could recording, you can go back and fill in the dates and who's doing it. And then if you there's a link. I started a hashtag Working in the Margins with Z on my Facebook, and whenever I see or when I get sent flyers and things for events, I post it on that and tag it with Working in the Margins with Z. Working in the Margins with Z. So if you follow, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, that's where you can find. I'll put all these flyers under that hashtag. So the first, these are kind of out of order. So let's see. Friends of Family Health Center, they're having a toy drive. They're in Ontario, 1129 West 4th Street, but the name of the organization is Friends of Family Health Center. They're having a toy drive. Toys, resources, and health screenings, Saturday, December 7th from 9 to noon, and that's in Ontario. Young Visionaries is doing their Youth Leadership is doing their Winter Wonderland. That's Saturday the 14th from 11 to 3, and that's at 604 West 4th Street in San Bernardino. There's also Christmas on Court down in downtown San Bernardino. Starts tonight, I believe. They're doing the tree lighting, and then it runs until the 21st, I believe. If I'm lying, I'm flying. But I'll get the right information for you. IEHP is doing a Trona Winter Wonderland. That's in Trona. It's called Trona Winter Wonderland. It's in Riverside, 9085 California Avenue in Riverside. But it's they're doing it at the Trona Senior Center. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. They got two different addresses here. They have one for the Trona Senior Center, 12 to 2, December 20th, 13187 Market Street, Trona, California. And then they have a Riverside address. But I'm going to post this. But if you have any questions, just call me, 909-908-8053. There's a Blythe Resource Street Fest and Toy Giveaway, December 14th. It's in Blythe from 9 to 1, and it's located near North Spring Street and Hobson Way in Blythe, California. There's a QR code to register RSVP. There's almost a QR code. Boy, these QR codes are just taking off. So again, that's in Blythe, and it's through the Blythe Resource Street Fest. There's another one. Oh, Hesperia, because we cover all of San Bernardino County. So there's one in Hesperia, Holiday Home Buyer Workshop. Okay, this is one of the best resources. But they're going to talk about the home buying process and how to secure your dream home and information about loans and down payments. And it's at the Hesperia Library, December 7th, this weekend, from 10 to 2. It's in the Hesperia Library Community Room. It's by BMO. I think that's the bank. And they're going to have refreshments and raffle prizes and things like that. But wow, great, wonderful. How to become a home buyer in today's climate. That's a stretch. So I missed that one. That one was today. So there's one. So Community Health is doing Holiday Smiles event. It's gifts for children ages 1 through 12. Community Resources, December 19th, 1:30 to 4. While supplies last, no registration needed, and it's at Bloomington Community Health Center. Bloomington Community Health Center. And again, that's on December 19th. Let's see. Reach Out. Reach Out is doing their annual Posada. It's December 13th from 4 to 7. It's at 1126 West Foothill Boulevard, Upland, California. Entertainment, kids activities, food, pictures with Santa, and gifts. And that's through Reach Out. And that's in the city of Upland on the 13th, their annual Posada. Malo's, MALO, is hosting their annual Winter Wonderland. The date is no registration needed. Event is available until supplies run out. Saturday, December 14th, 10 to 2, First United Methodist Church, 918 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario. And that is MALO Winter Wonderland. And it's at the First United Methodist Church. Again, 918 North. I've been to events there. They have a very lovely church. And it's on December 14th again. I think I have time for one more. Let's see. I have so many. How about this one? A Servant's Heart Community Development and our partners present 23rd Christmas gift giveaway. And it's the Servant's Heart Community Development in collaboration with their partners. It's first come, first serve, Friday, December 20th, 9 to 2 at the San Bernardino YMCA on 21st Street, 1808 East 21st Street. Again, on the 20th. So I think that's what I have time for. But from now until Christmas, I'll be bringing you more. I'll be bringing more resources for holiday giveaways. I get people to send them to me, and when they're having their events. But you can watch the podcast and then rewind it so you can write down the information. so that you can try to, if you don't need the services, help somebody else. If you know families, that need adoption, I have some families right now that I need to find sponsors to adopt. It's children that have recently been, are newly homed, recently unhoused, and they have been, now they are housed. They've been recently housed. So they're having their first Christmases in their new homes in a long time. So I'm looking at trying to make, my staff and I were looking at trying to make Christmas special for them. And, that's what we do. Family assistance is, we go along, we grab folks up and we say, how can we make your life better? So my quote is kind of inspired by my engineer. And he's gonna look at me and I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm in a period of mourning and loss, and my dad was so funny. He had nervous humor, so when we were in bad situations, he was like the first to like crack up and try to make people laugh. He just had that spirit about him. So some of the hardest times that we've had to go through as a family, his spirit of laughter and humor helped. And I always like to think that I got my humor from him. People say I'm funny. They don't say I'm funny looking anymore. So, but my quote for today is, first, rest in peace to my dad and to my girl Rhonda. I miss you. I love you. And nothing is forever, people. Love on your people. Nothing is forever. Only thing that's forever is Wu-Tang. My engineer has his Wu-Tang shirt on today. So love on your people. Take care of your people. And take care of yourselves and show yourself some grace during this time. And reach out if you need help and want to talk to folks. Reach out. This is Shazette. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week. And I'm out.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.